So welcome everyone to our Healthy Hangout on Wednesday. I'm happy you're all here. For those of you who it's your first time being here, we're especially happy to have you here and come back next week. For those of you who are kind of seasoned, we're so happy to have you here as well. So tonight we're going to be talking about sleep. So we all have to stay awake for it. And Pam will keep us awake, I know that. But first, we have a testimonial, and I believe it's going to be Bonnie introducing the testimonial, or Pam's going to introduce Bonnie to introduce the testimonial. However,
Sure.
you're doing it, people.
Yeah. All right. So the testimonial tonight is near and dear to Bonnie and I. Bonnie is my coach, by the way, Bonnie Owen. I owe everything to that lady. And it was funny because when I came on plan the first week, Jeannie, who's going to be our testimonial, came on the second week. But I'll let Bonnie tell you how that kind of came about. But that's how we're kind of linked. And Jeannie has a great story to share. So go ahead, Bonnie.
Bonnie, can you unmute yourself?
There we go.
There you go.
Now we're in. All right. I am so thrilled to present my friend Jeannie. She and I have been friends for years. I used to work with her husband. He kept me safe on the streets. He was a state trooper as I was a paramedic. So we met many times on many scenes. But when I started coaching, I reached out to Jeannie and asked her if I could be of any help. And that was on 2/9 of 2020. She decided to give it a try. And I don't know really who has learned more, me coaching her or her helping me be a coach. I don't know, but she is amazing. She's unstoppable and still an inspiration to me every day. Please take it away, Jeannie.
Oops. Uh-oh. I think there she is.
Okay, there it goes. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. As Bonnie said, we met a long time ago, about 30 years ago. She came to my husband's rescue when he fell out of a tree. Is when I met her. She came to rescue him. So I noticed she was getting ready for a cruise, and I looked and I seen she had lost so much weight, and I said, okay, I got to find out what she's doing. I was diabetic. I had heart problems. I had lung problems. I had a fatty liver. The doctor told me I had to do something or I wouldn't be around to see my grandkids. So I talked to Bonnie. She got me hooked. I said, okay, I will try it. I can't guarantee you nothing. I started February 17th of last year. And as of October, I had lost 107 pounds. So Bonnie was my savior. She called me, kept me on my toes, kept me on plan. And when I was started, I could not even walk to my mailbox. I could only go to the driveway and back, and I had to stop 1 or 2 times. I do about a quarter-mile driveway, but I could only do about halfway without stopping. Now I can walk 4 miles. I walk 4 miles every day. I ride my bike 4 miles every day. And I got me a rowing machine. I can do like 350. So it's been a lifesaver. My doctors all can't believe it. The nurse, when I was sitting there waiting to see the doctor, she came out to get somebody else and I waved to her. And she said, when she pulled me back, she says, I didn't even know that was you. I had to go look and see who my next patient was. She couldn't figure out it was me. And I have to go to USF because I do have a lot of lung problems, which I am now off of all 5 of my lung medicines. And I am off all my diabetic medicines. I am off all but 3 medicines that have nothing to do. One is Evista, and then my thyroid is the only 3 medicines I'm on now. I was on over 15 different medicines. And when I was at USF, see my lung specialist, she had a heart specialist come in to see me and talk to me about the program and everything. And they said they always thought lung disease and heart disease was related to obesity. And now they said, knowing my history, they can confirm it is. So they had 8 nurses come in, and I had to talk to all the nurses and other doctors in there. So, but like I said, it's been a whirlwind. It's been great. I went from a size 24 pants to a size 8. A shirt, a 3X to a medium now. So good thing I got all new clothes. So and
That's fantastic. It was crazy because, you know, Bonnie was coaching the 2 of us at the same time, and we kind of started almost like a week apart. And, you know, who couldn't do well, you know, with, following with Jeannie. I got to hear Jeannie's, you know, stories, and I got to, you know, Bonnie was managing both of us. And it was like, you know, you had all that motivation to keep going because, you know, it was just really, it was great. And to see Jeannie, you know, I had lost 65, but Jeannie kept going. And it didn't take her long to lose that weight. And she was just a rock star. It was just really impressive. So it speaks volumes to the program. It really does. And when you put your mind to something, and Jeannie is, you know, was determined. And that's what we loved. And the stories of her determination were what fueled me a lot of times when I'd call Bonnie and I was like, I hate my leaning green, you know, and then I'd have to hear, you know, about how Jeannie was doing. And I'm like, all right. But yeah, I totally get it.
my husband lost 25 pounds too. So, but he wasn't on the program, but because we ate healthier, it worked. Yeah,
it does. Well, thank you, Jeannie. Thank you for sharing. I mean, you're such an inspiration, and you know, it's like, again, it speaks volumes for the plan, and it's doable, and you can
does work.
Yeah, it does work. So with that, I'm going to go into my topic tonight about sleep. Kind of ironic that the night shift ICU nurse, who's been a night shift nurse for 15 years, is going to do the importance of sleep, which she's got none. So, you know, how ironic. But anyway, I found out some really great stuff about sleep, and it really has motivated me to do better. First thing I saw, and this is really interesting, I think you all would be very interested about this, the way our body does things. We are loaded with hormones that regulate everything. Our body's main purpose is to balance everything. We want to stay in what we call a continued state of homeostasis. And 2 hormones in particular that you all want to pay very close attention to. There's a hormone that helps us, that tells us when we need to eat. It sends signals to your GI tract, that sends signals to your brain that tell you to eat. And then there's a counteracting hormone that when you start to eat, and this other hormone jumps in and then tells you to stop eating. When I was researching sleep deprivation, guess what happens to those hormones? So everything comes to a screeching halt. So the hormones I'm talking about is a hormone called ghrelin and leptin. So ghrelin gets introduced from the GI tract, goes into your bloodstream, sends a message to your brain, I'm hungry. It's called the hunger hormone. And then once you start to eat, the ghrelin starts to drop in the bloodstream and leptin jumps in, and leptin is there to say when we need to stop eating. In sleep-deprived individuals, in a research study that they did, they got a group of individuals together and they created a sleep deprivation state. It was a one-night sleep deprivation. That's all it took. They drew blood on these individuals afterwards. They found that their ghrelin levels were increased and not decreased. They were increasing despite the fact that these people were eating, and that their leptin levels were permanently decreased or not functioning at all. So with just one acute moment of sleep deprivation caused that complete switch of those hormones that protect us. Have you ever had those times when you're on plan and you're doing really well and you're not hungry and everything's going great, but then you have that not so good night's sleep, and that next day you feel like you're on the struggle bus, and you can't seem to get satisfied by anything you eat. You're constantly hungry, you're constantly struggling. It's probably those hormones are out of whack due to sleep deprivation. So when I was researching this, Dr. Anderson talks about this in his Habits of Health book and in his life book. Sleep needs to be a healthy habit, not an afterthought. Okay, we manage our fuelings, we manage our lean and greens, we manage our waters, we set up our water, we make sure we count it. We're so thorough at creating those healthy habits. But what do we do with our sleep? It's an afterthought. It really is. It's, you never know from one moment to the next what time you're going to go to bed. Your day could dictate, a lot of chaos. A lot of us think that we can stay up till 10:30 at night, being on the phone, being on the internet, being on your laptop, watching TV, and just go from a 90 mile an hour day and go straight to bed and think you're going to get a good night's sleep. It doesn't happen. Doesn't happen that way. There has to be a habit set up for good, proper sleep. So what does a good sleep look like? So basically it's 7 to 8 hours, okay? Some people think they can squeeze by with 6 hours, but you really have to tell by a little question and answer. So here's some questions to ask yourself. Signs of poor sleep are you tired upon waking and need an alarm clock to wake you up and hit the snooze constantly because you can't wake up? Number 2, are you throughout the day kind of going through brain fog and having difficulty focusing on tasks and getting things done? Are you lacking motivation during the day to get tasks done? Do you get overwhelmed easy? Are you searching for caffeine at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, looking for things to keep you awake and, on your 3rd and 4th Red Bull to stay awake for the rest of the day? Are you overeating? Are you comforting yourself with food? Are you feeling fatigued? Okay, so these are all signs. So with that, if you had yes to any of those questions, it could be you're not getting enough sleep. So there are 5 stages of sleep, of healthy sleep. I'm not going to go through all of them. That would be a whole nother Zoom. But long story short, we want to get, and you've probably heard this term before, it's called REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. It is your deepest sleep. It is your dream state sleep. Okay. And it's not something you get into and stay in all night. You actually hit it in cycles. And each time you hit that REM state sleep, you hit it longer and longer and deeper and deeper. And the key is to stay in it as long as possible. But a lot of us have difficulty staying in there. We have things that disrupt our sleep. If you're in those stages of sleep that are basically, that lighter stage of sleep where you wake easily to noise, you're tossing and turning, you're getting up to go to the bathroom all the time, you're never really going to hit that REM sleep and you're not going to get a really good night's sleep. So how do we develop these habits? How do we make them better? So you need to prepare for sleep like you'd prepare for your weight loss. It has to be a planned event. You have to make a designated time that this is when I'm going to bed. And you don't stop 90 mile an hour activities and go straight to bed. You need to be preparing an hour to 2 hours in advance. You need to make that a practice. Now, Dr. Anderson talks about that and he says, man, I know it sounds stringent, but you got to do it. It's super important. We can just see what the effects are on what our GI tract goes through when we don't sleep well. You imagine what else is going on in our body when we don't get proper sleep. So what are some things we can do to help create what we call better sleep hygiene? And that is just a practice of a series of things that we do to prepare ourselves for sleep and to set ourselves up for better sleep. Well, first things first, you have to decide what time do you need to get up in the morning. So let's use an example of, say, 6 o'clock in the morning. Now you got to count back. Let's count back 8 hours. Okay, 10 o'clock would give you a full 8-hour sleep. All right, 10 o'clock. But that doesn't mean, 10 o'clock's the number. Now we count back 2 more hours. 8 o'clock, 8:30 is when you're going to have to start wrapping things up and setting a stage for relaxation and decompression. So a couple things you can start doing. So at 8 o'clock, we're going to stop things we can stop and can control to create a better environment for sleep. You're going to stop computer and TV and phone activities. Shut it down. Stop for the day. Have a boundary set that enough's enough. I need to decompress and have that time to get my mind to kind of slow down. Stop the work process. Another thing with computers and phones, it's a lot of blue light exposure, and that can cause a lot of eye strain. So we want to kind of back off that as well and give ourselves some breaks from that as well. Number 2, you want to stop your caffeine intake 6 to 8 hours prior to your decision to start unwinding and going to bed. Caffeine is a stimulant, and it's also can work as a diuretic as well. So not only will you be overly stimulated drinking too much of it and having trouble relaxing and going to sleep, you'll also be up peeing because it acts as a diuretic sometimes. So we want to curb that to at least 6 to 8 hours prior to bedtime. You also want to slow down your water intake about 2 hours before you're going to bed, because you don't want to be getting up and going to the bathroom. If, try to get your water intake in much earlier in the day. That way it's done. And then if you're thirsty, a sip of water here and a sip of water there is fine. But you don't want to be trying to get your 32 ounces in at 7 o'clock at night because you're behind the 8 ball. I would almost probably skip a lot of that water, start over the next day, but make sure you get a good night's sleep. That would be probably the thing I would do. When you're preparing yourself for a good night's sleep, your room, your environment, clean clutter out of your bedroom. Clutter in your room creates chaos. Chaos does not create good sleep. And if you're looking at piles of things, you're already starting in your brain, oh my gosh, I got to do this, I got to do that. So make sure you get rid of all the clutter. Evaluate your mattress. Studies have shown that your mattress is only good up to about 8 years. Probably some of the mattresses are even less than that. Now they have memory foam mattresses out there that are really amazing, and they're typically the what everybody's going to now. Not only do they control body temperature and keep you cool at night, they also support your bones, your joints, and you do have a much more restful sleep. Make sure you choose loose-fitting, comfortable clothes to go to sleep. Something that you're not going to get too hot in, something that you're not going to be up flinging blankets off every 2 minutes. Be comfortable. Make sure your room is cold and dark. No outside lighting. Sometimes we like to light candles, things like that. Any flashing things, that will not promote good sleep. Aromatherapy is a good way to create a nice decompression type environment, using lavender, different scents that might promote relaxation. You could also try soaking in a hot tub with some Epsom salts and some lavender scented things, because that kind of will help relax your muscles. Sometimes Epsom salts, I think, contain magnesium too, which help with muscle, if you have restless legs and things like that, which can disrupt your sleep. It'll help relax that. So what's the other thing you want to keep an eye on too is if you have a spouse or a partner who tells you snore a lot at night, that is something you want to pay attention to. You could have something called sleep apnea or obstructive sleep apnea. If your partner tells you snore, or you breathe loud and then you stop breathing and your breathing sounds irregular and then you wake yourself up snoring, it's possible you have sleep apnea, which can be very disruptive, and you will not get into really deep, good, healthy sleep, restorative sleep. So that would be a reason to check in with your provider and kind of say, hey, this is going on. And then they can help you and guide you into helping you with a better night's sleep and getting you the tools you need to combat for that. Having sleep apnea and obstructive sleep apnea leads to obesity. It leads to diabetes and hypertension. So all that's tied into a good night's sleep. So you want to make sure that you take care of that type of thing. Also, if you want, you can check in with your MD as well. It could be something going on in your blood work. It could mean you have something going on if you're having a hard time sleeping and you're getting leg cramps. It could be your electrolytes are a little off. Go see your provider, have some blood work done, have your electrolytes checked. Also ask to have your vitamin D levels checked. I am very deficient in vitamin D. I have to take a lot of vitamin D. And one of the signs and symptoms of my vitamin D being low is when I start to have trouble sleeping. And the minute I start upping my vitamin D, my sleep schedules return back to normal. And vitamin D is also very good for your immune system as well. But again, check with your provider if some of these things we've done and you're doing all the right things and you're still not having a good night's sleep, go see your provider and see if maybe it's your thyroid. It could be something fixable that can help you, because sleep is so important. Another thing you can do too for that unwinding phase is prayer and meditation. Prayer and meditation is very important. It kind of takes everything in your brain and you're lifting it up to a higher power, whoever you pray to, meditate to. It relaxes you and you can kind of push it off and just feel like you can clear your head and know that, you can rest easily knowing that you're safe and protected. If you still battle with having, you lay there in bed and it's dark and it's quiet and it's cold and your mind's still running, keep a pad and paper next to your bed, pad and pencil. Jot down some things, like if you're stressing out over something you got to do in the next day, or stressing out over a conversation you had with someone, or things are running through your head and we sometimes can't shut that off. Write it down, journal it, and then close that journal, put it aside. And it's almost kind of like erasing your brain. There is definitely something to the act of writing something down and putting it somewhere with the intention that you'll revisit it another time. It'll clear your brain and allow you for more restful sleep. Outside of that, it's so important. I really, truly did not understand the importance of sleep. I got it when I got it, and when I didn't get it, it was, oh well. From what I've learned, I'm really going to try to create much better, healthier sleep environments for myself, because I've really learned that it's super important, especially for us in our weight loss and even our maintenance. It's incredibly important to have that good night's sleep to stay focused. I was going to ask Jen to come on for the last few minutes. We talked about meditation, and we know Jen is the queen of meditation. I don't know, is she on, Mitzi? I'm looking.
He's driving.
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Oh, yay. So Jennifer is going to walk us through a little meditation exercise that we all know is so wonderful. Last time she did this, I walked away from this computer like mush.
Jen,
she's
I'm
gonna
so
walk us
excited.
through-
Sorry, I just had to say that.
Oh.
Well, thank you.
And
Well-
so take it away, Jen.
Okay. All right. Well, hello, everybody. What I wanted to share tonight is two things that are very easy for you to do, and they're great tools for sleep. So if you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can use these. You don't have to wake up your spouse. You can do this if you're in a cubicle at work and you're feeling really stressed and you just need to change the body chemistry really quickly. So the first one is just a very simple belly breathing. And if you want to add a little bit of a meditative spin to it, just imagine when you're exhaling that you're just surrendering everything and letting go. And so anything that comes to mind on the exhale, you just let it all out and you let it all go. So what I'd like you to do is just close your eyes, just because it helps us to go into our inner space. Put the left hand up on the chest and the right hand down on the belly. And the chest should not move. The only thing we want to move is the belly. And this is something that we're not really used to doing, because we tend to breathe very shallow. And that just actually increases all of the body chemistry that adds to stress. So we're going to train ourselves to breathe into the belly and not holding everything in the chest. So we're going to inhale and exhale, very same rhythm. So the inhale and exhale is equal, but the exhale, I want you to purse your lips like you're whistling, okay? And exhale through that. So because that relaxes the jaw, we hold so much stress in our jaw. That's why we love chips, because that's like a de-stressor, right? When you're chewing. So by pursing the lips, you're just releasing all that, and it's all kind of melting away. So let's close our eyes and begin. And just take a nice deep inhale through the nose. And exhale. Inhale through, have that belly expand. And then bring the belly into, imagine the belly button is coming right to the spine. You're pulling it all the way in. Let's just do a couple more of these for practice. And exhale. Surrender, letting go. Going into a nice, deep, relaxed state. Inhale again. And exhale. And just take a couple of breaths, put your hands on your lap, and just feel into if your body feels like it's changing at all. And put that in the chat if you're feeling anything. And we can kind of take a peek at that. But if you're laying there, you can do this sitting up, you can do it laying down, and you will feel your heart rate decrease. You'll feel the blood pressure decreases, and it will help you to get back into a more restful pre-sleep. So now
Jen?
that it's, yeah?
Hi, I'm sorry, and so wonderful, and I love your voice and all that you're doing. I just want to share, it's like 8:29. So
Yes, I won't do the second one. We'll save that for when we do relaxation as an element with mindset.
okay,
Thank you.
sorry.
Great job, Pam.
Thank you, everybody. That was great, Jen. Thank you. Even that alone was like, huh.
Oh my God, even that couple minutes, amazing.
So I put the Habits of Health call
Yes.
link in the Zoom, in the chat. So the 8:30 call, the national call is going to start like now. And then for those of you who are coaches, you're going to stay on and we're going to do some coach training. And so I hope everyone has a great night. Stay on if you're a coach. If you're not, go to the Habits of Health, the
Oh
national.
my God. And I just want to say your testimonial was fabulous.
Yes,
Bye.
Stephen, thank you.
Oh, Jeannie, you were amazing. Just had to say that.
And happy birthday tomorrow, Jada.
Yes.
I know. Happy birthday, Jada.
Happy
Happy birthday,
birthday.
Jada.
Next week, I might be a grandma.
Yay!
Yes.
I can't wait to hear. You better be on. You better be on.
If it's here, I will.
Slogans here.